Hello everybody and welcome to another video of something. Damn, I need to redo that. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ash Kior and today we're going to be going over MFDs, specifically the layout on the Drake Cutlass, which is, my preferred ship for this game. Alright, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so first off, looking at the MFD as is right now, we'll go over a couple of things. My settings for the graphics, my field of view, oh wow, normally I have that cranked up higher. I like to keep at 100. Okay, now the reason why I like to keep it at 100 is because I like to have my, full view. Okay, that being said, let's just, let's go ahead and use free look. Okay, so let's look at this right here. So in my opinion, I would like to see a little bit more, of a again, 30th century tech of these displays coming out of this area right here. There is unused glass there that is right behind the MFD, and I know that we've already seen multiple changes to the Cutlass's display and feel, because people again wanted to feel a little bit more back from the controls and from the MFDs, and that's understandable. You want that view. I do like being able to have my view. I will say that in that sense that we ran into a little bit of a, I would call it a design flaw, in the sense that where we chose to put our MFDs. I would like to see that the three side ones over here ended up more along the edge of this structured seam here, and closer in to you. I mean, this thing comes out to you, it folds away up into there, so have the MFDs kind of do the same thing, so that when I'm sitting here just like this, then they come in this section right here and allow for me to be able to see them without them obstructing any of my window, because this is already taking up some of my window space, these two right here, and they're kind of far away. I mean, I'm on a 55-inch screen, I believe 55-60-inch screen, and it's 4K, and I mean, they're still at that distance right now, because of that. I can't really tell a whole lot of the detail. I mean, it's there, and if I squint a little bit, but you don't want to have to. You're in combat. You want to be able to, you're doing whatever. You're landing a ship. You want to be able to glance at your MFDs and be able to get the information that you need from them. So, on that note, I'd also like to see the top two. Well, as a matter of fact, I'd like to see my HUD disappear unless I specifically, do it. And I'd like to be able to set up my HUD. This, in my opinion, shouldn't, these things, again, getting rid of the HUD, you should have those right along this structured seam right here, okay, at an angle on both sides. That would give me the information. You could even make it a little bit bigger that way, and, that would give me the information I needed, and then the other stuff right here along the bottom. And as a matter of fact, some of the information you don't have, like quantum fuel and other stuff, could come right here at the, so if I'm sitting center, right there at the top of my view, right there where these two little pips are. If you have other information holographically, like this bottom piece and stuff, all against the top there, like what flares I have selected, what other flares I have, or how much of my quantum fuel, and a couple of other different things that could be up there. But utilize that entire space on the screen itself, and don't try to act like it's a hologram, because I don't even feel like this holographically is popped up in front of me. I feel like it's pasted on there and it sucks. Go ahead and put all that information up there, along with quantum drive. When we're quantum spooling, leave it out there. I don't want to see it all right up in here. Another thing, it's the 30th century. If I pick a spot in my mobiGlas on the screen, okay, I pick a jump point. So that's my jump point, and I set it, okay? What that should automatically be doing is that should be calculating immediately. Okay, so right now I should be calculating a jump point. Somewhere it should let me know that right there, because you can see it, there is my jump point, and I'm already calculating it, okay, because I know where it is. I should not have to turn my ship and specifically face that area to start a jump. As a matter of fact, I don't see any reason to face that area at all, especially with y'all taking control of my jump points anyways and rotating my ship this way and that, during planet entry or whatnot. Well, even right here, if I'm sitting right here, you're going to turn my ship, whichever way y'all want to jump me. So I shouldn't have to face that planet to jump it. I should also be able to have my co-pilot, because I have a co-pilot seat in the Cutlass. I should be able to have that co-pilot program that jump for me and already have it calculating, and all either he needs to do or I need to do is hit the spool button and let the jump drives warm up, which, again, something that I would like is, if at all possible, explain to me why I can't have my jump drive spooled at all times, ready to jump at a moment's notice. So, kind of like a combat jump. I want to be able to, jump out of there at any moment. And yes, a second or third jump, depending on my quantum drive size, would need, for me to cool down for, a certain amount of time. But I also want to be able to see multiple quantum jumps in a row out of different size quantum engines. But anyway, so, I shouldn't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, I should just initiate once it, it'll let me know quantum drive spooled, quantum drive calibrated, jump ready. And then I can initiate jump whenever I want. And then when I initiate jump, it's going to spin me, turn me, and boom, jump me in that direction, since y'all are already kind of taking that route. Another thing I'll get into more later on is, I would like to see, a little bit more customized jump options where I can pick in three-dimensional space exactly where I'm jumping to. Even if I have to enter in coordinates of some kind, I would like a little bit more control over that, especially since, I like to play as the smuggler, the pirate. Having fixed jump routes into areas sucks. I want to be able to avoid patrols. I want to be able to avoid other players who are in the area, waiting for me to jump in. I want to be able to jump to a point that they don't expect. That's, three-dimensional space. That's three-dimensional combat. So, I would like to see that at some point in time. Anyways, without any further ado, we will go ahead and jump into our MFDs. So, a couple of things as well. Here, let's just look at this. This looks like this is supposed to be my stealth, MFD right here, where I can suppress certain things IR. And notice that is all I am able to suppress is IR for some reason. I'm able to do my overclocking from here as well. And that's, that's something I haven't been able to understand either, is, like, it says, this is the temperature, I guess, this is the health, this is, what? I don't know exactly. There's no, there's no manual to look and see exactly what that means. 7 items that it's doing, that it's connected to? No, because then the Daybreak would have, items that it's connected to. Anyway, so certain things overclockable, certain things not, which is understandable. let's look at where are my main engines. So from what I understand, my main engines are also called my main thrusters. My main thruster. And we have a whole bunch of maneuvering thrusters. But look at this. I mean, maneuvering thruster 3 times how many? Is that size 3 a size 3 maneuvering thruster? I don't know. Nobody has said. So anyways, we got a bunch of those. Okay, gimbaled mounts. Okay, so here's something. If we're gonna, let's go ahead and this needs to be divided into other tabs. So if we go into items, then I should have again, weapons, systems, and freaking yeah, just I guess weapons and systems. And engines, weapon systems and engines. Yeah, it needs to have 3 more tabs, weapon systems and engines, and allow me to go into those and allow me to prioritize, in there with like a, number system, I guess, instead of this, because I don't like having to scroll through all, it's difficult to grab this little tiny bar and scroll. And I know you should have all of this set up before combat, but if, shit hits the fan, sometimes you need to adjust things. It's not like this is I can't grab and drag this screen so it doesn't act like a touch screen. And unless, Game Glass or something has the ability for me to, implement all of these individual tabs specifically as they are, on my tablet where I can touch and scroll them, then this is difficult. So splitting them up into systems, engines, and then weapons would make prioritizing a little bit better, allowing me for to click on the little icon, a box right here next to it, and type in a number real quick as to its load order in the powering up sequence, or how it gets power. That would be great. Then again, if this is going to become our stealth system, then we need to be able to suppress EM as well. And I want to run dark. I want to be able to shut down everything except passive scanners. So just if I'm sitting there with the scanning tab open, not holding any of the buttons, just letting it pick up things. That's what I consider passive scans, and that shouldn't draw hardly any power, and that should be running dark. As a matter of fact, on something like that, I should be almost as indistinguishable from any other space junk floating around, as long as my my heat level is down and my EM levels are down. So it should right now I'm sitting at no engines are running. But so it shows that, but it shows that we have heat coming from power, heat coming from systems and whatever. So let's go ahead and see what happens when I suppress all overall IR. Okay, we have now suppressed everything. We have the temperature dropping, not fast, understandable. I don't see my cold snaps really doing anything, and these are the coolers. So where is the IR that I'm suppressing going? Where's my heat sinks? And again, look, I mean, I've got overall IR suppressed, but what is it going to go down to? And how long does that take? So I think that and how long does it last? When is it going to stop? I have none of that information up here, and I should. That should let me know what's going on. And this is saying my overall heat is down to 272. But again, like I said, my heat sinks. If anybody played Mass Effect, then they had heat sinks in their ship. And they can only, last for so long before, they had to release all of that heat, and they were going to become, visible for a short time, and very visible at that. But otherwise, it should drop down to almost, zil, none. Especially if I can click going dark, what actual stealth is. Now, the other thing would be to have, a specifically, stealth field generator, or, some other kind of system that suppresses overall, information. And then I think you would need to sacrifice something. So, if we did have a stealth system that allowed us to have everything on, then, I would say, you would need to sacrifice something like visuals. You would have to run off nothing but sensors, but scans, instruments, old school, in that sense. But anyways, so there's my take on that. Let's get back into, next we have the, information about your own personal ship. Again, I think that EM and IR is redundant if we have, a stealth screen. So let's remove those, and let's tell me, the actual health of my hull. What percentage is my hull at? What percentage is my engines at? What percentage are my weapons at? Life support, shields. Some of the main important one. Let's see what those percentages are. So, again, the more information I have, the longer I can stay in a fight, or the quicker I can get out of a fight if I know, okay, I need to go ahead and bail if things are starting to get too bad. The color system that they use right now does not really do very well, in my opinion. It's it's not real informative. It's not even showing some of the shields that it talks about, like where are my top and bottom shields. I mean, it actually does not show my top and bottom shields. So, it's like, again, on the shield thing, I would like a little bit more information. we can come over here and look at it. It shows me front, left, bottom, right, but, it acts like I have top and, back, front, back, left, right. But it acts like I have top and bottom shields, but I don't have any info for them. That could be at least displayed over here, maybe, you think? Top and bottom shields. Anyways, so this MFD needs to go away. It should be a holographic. Like I said, these should be along this area, pulled in, come up to me. And then this should take up, kind of this area, kind of like fold and turn flat right here in front of me. And then I should get a nice holographic sphere of what's going on in my radar. I should always be at the center of this sphere, like a itty bitty tiny ship right there. And if I wanted to, kind of, again, grab it when I'm in MFD. Whoops. Just turned everything off.
Hello and welcome aboard.
But if while I'm in,
Systems are online.
that thought of MFD display control, I should be able to grab and twist and turn a little bit to where, the radar is how I would like to envision it as my third person kind of a thing. That may be a little much, just having the holographic, like I said, this thing coming out and going flat right here in front, actually taking up some of that space. These coming and, like I said, moving along the edge there, and having the other information there, and then having the HUDs, there whether or not I want them. Again, I would like to have, a profile set, maybe in my settings, or, a button somewhere where I can set profile, and then other players that I have authorized to use my ship in my organization, can have a profile. So there's a profile button or something somewhere, where we each get to assign ourselves a profile. So when we get in, all we got to do is hit power and hit profile 1, and then our MFDs pop up, because so like, excuse me. I want my comms here. I don't really use that. Of course, I'd like the comms and refresh to work the way that it's supposed to. But, I don't really use that stealth system a whole lot. So I prefer having my comms there. And let's see, I like having my... heat right here. No. It's the stealth system I don't use. Settings. There. Yes. Target status here. It's a bigger screen. I mean, come on. I want my target status to be a little bit bigger. I want to be able to see it. You know, and again, if we're going to talk about layout, I would say that the two big ones would be the first ones in, you know, right here along the, you know, if we're looking, you know, and then, you know, put these stacked, like, you know, like steps right here along this route. That's kind of how I envisioned it. So, you know, and like I said, bring them to me a little bit more, because as you can see, my stick is right here. You know, if these were to come towards me more, then they still wouldn't be in the way of the stick, you know, and then when I decide to get out, then they would, you know, suck back in. Anyways, so I like my power to be there. Yeah, so, you know, this is kind of how I like to have my information right here. You know, oh, nope, these are swapped. Self status and comms. There we go. So, yeah, this is how I like it. But as you can see, you know, it's just too far away. If you were to, like I said, allow for the arms, the same kind of arms that have, you know, this guy coming out to me. Then, you know, have those, you know, extend along here, and then my nice holographic view, and then those along the way. And like I said, a little bit more information, you know, would be nice. You know, I don't understand the use of some of this stuff. Like, again, we went to items, and ooh, stop. We have one. Like, I want to be able to. This is where I want to be able to adjust my, you know, put all power to front shields, prepare for ramming speed kind of, you know, crap, you know, or, you know, put everything to rear shields. We're getting the crap out of here, you know. And that's if we're going to keep the orange peel idea, you know, of shields where they kind of wrap around, or, you know, if I've got top and bottom, then again, I want control over my individual sides and shields. As far as the target, I don't have one up here, but so far the only thing I've ever been able to sub-target is engines. You know, and that sucks. Again, I want to be able to, you know, target, you know, life support or their shields, or, you know, their, you know, jump system, you know, the jump computer. Maybe not jump drive, but, you know, different. I want to be able to toggle through everything that I have available, you know, because either A, if, you know, we're going to go the route where all ships are known, and as long as I get the IFF tag, which, you know, tells me whether it's, you know, a Vandal, you know, freaking fighter, or, you know, that it tells me it's a, you know, a Buccaneer fighter, or, you know, whatever. It tells me that, and if I have all that information, or at least my computer has all that information, and that could be a thing, you know, downloading and you know, getting all the information off every different, you know, class ship. But, you know, if I have that information, then I want to be able to target those different systems. You know, my computer and targeting systems should know where those are and allow for me to hit those specifically. Because, you know, just blowing off people's engines doesn't always work, especially with these thrusters. Y'all can watch my video. I landed a Cutlass on, I believe it was Kerr L1 without any engines. So my main engines were gone. You know, these bad boys up here were gone. All I did was maneuvering thrusters. So, you know, anyways, if they can still move quite a bit without their main engines. I've watched it happen, so maybe that can get fixed. Oh, here we go. We can, yep, pulled in something. So here we got a MS Prospector. If I go ahead and hit my tab to, you know, target there, I've targeted main engine, and, you know, let's go ahead and tab through the possible sub-targetings. Main engine, another engine, That's it. Engines. So yeah, I'd like to be able to target something else. Um, I mean, shoot, I'd like to be able to get as brazen as to freaking, in some of these, the cockpit, like take another Drake or a Valkyrie, where I can just target the cockpit and I break through and bust through and blast that cockpit. It's dead in the water, you know, uh, except for the fact that, everything else is beautied, no engines destroyed, I mean, the repair cost on a cockpit is cheap. So, as a pirate slash smuggler, that would be something I would like to be able to do as well. Anyways, a lot of these are, just what I'd like to see. Some of them I think are, really necessary to, the hailing target has never worked for me. Of course, half the time, 90% of the time, the in-game VoIP system never works for me. So I don't know if it's something that's wrong with my computer or something else. But, again, I'd like different and more information. The just this seems very, I don't know, meh type. It needs work. So I was going to talk a little bit about my setup, what I like to do with my power systems. Again, I kind of want to see the separation because, like, I like my, the main power to come on, my daybreak to come on. Normally my maelstrom. And then I like for my, and I don't have it up here yet, but the very next thing that I like to come on is my shields. I like shields to come on right after that. See, as you can see, this is kind of complicated. If I could have just put number 2 right next to it, that would have made things simpler. And again, these, the HUD crap is kind of in my way with me trying to deal with my MFDs. My turrets I like near the bottom. So again, having a separate weapons thing to where, they're not on unless somebody else is in them, then they stay at the bottom. Like, they need to quit putting themselves up here in near the top of the list of, whatever. Go away. All right. Let's see. Then there's maneuvering thruster. Where's main thruster? Gotta go to the main thruster. There. See, main thruster 1. So from what I understand, that's like either both of my engines or one of my engines. So again, like, why isn't that closer to the top? Because, yeah, the next thing I want to be able to do is, after I've got, power going and shields going, I want to be able to cut that baby on and get the crap out. And put some power to her. So and again, where's the overclocking on this? For boost. I mean, that should be kind of like basically holding the shift key down the entire time if I, want to overclock that. Let's see, where is the other one? Main thruster 1, there's the other one. So yeah, these are my 2 main, engines in my opinion. And I'd kind of like, again, just maneuvering thrusters. I don't want each one to power individually. That's a little funny thing is where there's a game that doesn't have a whole lot of control, some things have too much control. Yeah, just maneuvering thrusters, please. Just allow me to power those on. I can't individually select what type of maneuvering thrusters, especially, I mean, if that's going to be something later on, great, but that's not, something that I know of right now. So, nope. And then we have our cold snaps. I like my, and then I have my my weapons. Those need to come up. And, I'd like to just, again, in my case, set up my overclock weapons so, I can go, boom, overclock when I'm ready. Because I don't need these things overclocked all the time. I only want them overclocked when I go into battle. So they can sit there at their normal power or completely off, actually, if I could just power weapons on. Because, that's another thing. Being able to fly around with your weapons off is kind of a sign that you're not hostile in any way, shape, or form. You should be able to when you pull up, instead of EM or IR, it says shields are hot, weapons are hot. I think that a lot of the times you should have a difference between the type of shields you fly around in. There's more like let's see if we go to our shields. Let's say that the inner circle of shields is where it doesn't have this outer covering. We'll just say it's the inner part. We could say that's normal flight shields. That's there for space debris and shit like that. But this other part is military. That's where combat shields. You've initiated combat. So I know when somebody raises their shields, kind of like in Star Trek. I know when their weapons are hot. I know when their shields are raised. I know they're ready to, do business. I don't need to freaking try to communicate with this person. I can go ahead and, red alert, basically, put my shields at full combat readiness, get my weapons ready and hot, and, then decide what to do. Or if I come across somebody and, they scan, pop up on there, all they have is, freaking, flight shields, and their weapons are powered down. There's no need to go in hot against them. I know that they're friendly. So and I think that that's something that should be offered, because I think that in a lot of UE space we're supposed to feel safe. We're supposed to feel like we don't have to run around with our shields constantly at maximum and weapons hot, ready to fire. We're not on the frontier. But if you are outside of UE jurisdiction, then you should, yes, be cautious. Have your weapons, ready, even overclocked all the time. Stealth systems on, freaking, shields at maximum. Because it's the frontier. Who knows what's going on out there? But like when I'm traveling to and from ArcCorp or freaking Area 18, I mean Hurston. Or Crusader, those areas I should feel secure in them. I should feel like I shouldn't have to go around, armored up and freaking, armed to the teeth. So, anyways, that's kind of, my take on the MFDs, my, opinion specifically on the Drake, and some of the improvements that could be made on, and just improvements in general. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Happy hunting. Semper Fi.